UFC 299 goes down in your boy's hometown, Miami, Florida. All right, maybe not the hometown. I grew up just over the line in Broward County, but spent a lot of time in Miami growing up. And I'm very excited about this one because the Miami fans are going to be raucous this Saturday night, especially when Sean O'Malley and Marlon Vera walk into the octagon and put the bantamweight title up for grabs. We got more on this fight and other fight predictions for you next.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the Community MMA with your host, Chris Cross.
Yes! Yes! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Baby! Baby!
What up? It's your boy Chris Cross checking in. This is the Community MMA, aka the TCMMA podcast. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Doesn't matter. We're everywhere, man. Look us up. TCMMA podcast. So we got a big week ahead, man. UFC 299 goes down in Miami, Florida. I grew up just over the line, but nonetheless, I grew up in South Florida. So I'm just excited that it's in Miami. I'm excited because the fans are going to be crazy just as they are everywhere else. Like Mexico, California, New York, wherever it is. The UFC only comes once a year, maybe twice a year. So you know the place is going to be sold out and the fans are going to be crazy. And I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. But before we roll into 299, we got to catch up what happened last night. It's going to be brief, but we want to get you the record for last night. We want to show you the main event record, the overall record, and the record last night, and that'll lead us in to UFC 299. And the best way to do it is to give you the fight last night, to show you the reaction of the fight that turned it around, because we started out 1-3, and we were in danger of falling to 1-4 before Vinicius Oliveira changed everything. Vinicius continues to come forward here, final 50 seconds. Now he's talking to his corner. Get focused, bro. Come on, man. Okay, here we go. Left-right combination. And Sopai is really slowing down. What a comeback here by Oliveira. He just got to close his fight out now. Definitely won round 2 and now round 3 after Sopai dominated really for the first 8.5 minutes of the fight. This guy's for real at 23 years old. But Oliveira, more of a veteran. Ooh, nice left. And Sopai's in trouble. Flying knee. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! And this fight is over, man. That's the KO of the year. And Daniel Cormier, DC, can't believe it. Flying knee finishes Sopai. What a rough way to lose this fight. Because this guy came in his UFC debut and looked dominant early. And then finally, Vinicius Oliveira switched the position late in the second round and just began to take over this fight. And building momentum all the way till just now. He lands a left. Sopai kind of stumbles and he comes in with the flying knee and just ends it. And this is by far, easily, the KO of the year. And boom! Wow. Almost Karate Kid style, man. Unbelievable. And Sopai stumbles back against the fence, then looks over at his corner. And both guys doing this throughout the fight. Quit looking at your corner. It takes one shot to finish the fight, and that's what happened here. Unbelievable performance by Vinicius Oliveira, and man, we needed that. And we're back to 2-3 at least. It could have been 1-4, so that's why you get that reaction a second ago. Boom, nice leg kick followed by the left. Here comes a flying knee. Beam, bro. KO of the year, not even close. Goes to Vinicius Oliveira, and that's going to be tough to beat. And if that was in an arena, the place would have went crazy. But nonetheless, Vinicius Oliveira pulls it out against a tough Bernardo Sopai here at UFC Vegas 87. Yeah, so in fact, we ended up running the table. So we were in danger of going to 1-4. Instead, we get to 2-3, and we run the table 7 straight. to get to 8-3 on the night and get the main event. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. And there you see all the W's, right? 1-3 to start the night. Salwati fell, Ribeiro fell, Javid Basharat, undefeated, fell. Then we get Oliveira, who changed it. Then Eric Anders, then Steve Erceg with a big win over Matt Schnell. And then all the undefeateds kept winning. Umar won, Makayev won, Petrino won. But then Shamil Gaziev, who was undefeated, fell to Rosenstrike in exactly how I thought the fight would go. It didn't look good in round 1 for Rosenstrike, but he got it together and went off in rounds 2, 3, and 4 with the jab, limited the takedowns, stayed on his feet, and Gaziev never came out for the 5th round. And that's kind of how it went last night. And that leads us in now to UFC 299. So we went 8-3 on the night. We're 4-3 on the main event, and we'll get to that main event pick here in a little while. And then we're 51-32 overall. So we've really spread out the wins now, going 10-2 and 8-3. So 18-5 in the past 2 weeks. That's big. That's absolutely big for the predictions and giving us confidence going forward. Make no mistake about it. So UFC 299. It's going down. Big fight. This is almost bigger than UFC 300 when you look at the card. I mean, it's absolutely stacked from top to bottom. And we got several predictions for you. We're going to be here for a while. In the first one, it's a big one. Mateusz Gamrot versus Rafael Dos Anjos. And both these guys are capable of winning this fight. Mateusz is at the point now where he's getting heavy hitters every time he fights. Right? He's got a solid record. And as he pushes the limit up the ladder, it's going to get tougher and tougher because we know the lightweight division, regardless, you could be 20-1 and might lose your next fight. I mean, that's just how good this division is. So let's jump right into it. This is Mateusz Gamrot versus Rafael Dos Anjos. In the lightweight division, one of the best divisions, if not the best division in the UFC. You got two heavy hitters in Mateusz Gamrot, 23-2, taking on RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, who comes in at 32-15. Now Gamrot, 2 inches taller at 5'10". He's 33, RDA is 39. Gamrot, 1 inch reach advantage, 71-70, very close. Both guys fight left-handed. I like that. Gamrot, just 3 significant strikes per minute, but RDA, just 3.5 per minute. So takedown game is going to be important here. Gamrot lands like a takedown and a half every single round. RDA lands like 1 every other round, although he's just a little bit better than that, like 2 per every 3 rounds. So both guys not very active on the feet. They can be if they need to, but they want to get this fight to the ground, and RDA wants to control this fight up against the fence. So keep an eye on that during this fight. Gamrot, 90% takedown defense. That's incredible. He beat Rafael Fiziev. That was a big win by KO. He beat Jalen Turner, who I believe at that time was coming off a 5-fight win streak. He beat him by split decision. Had 4 takedowns, but only 29 significant strikes in that fight. The key was, though, is that he held Jalen Turner, a striker, to just 40. And that's because of the takedown game. So he didn't do much with it. No submission attempts, but kind of grinded out a victory in that one. And it was a big victory to boot. Now, RDA, 56% takedown defense. That's going to be a problem. Lost to Vicente Luque by unanimous decision. Vicente had 8 takedowns on RDA. That's incredible. Now, RDA did beat Brian Barberena by submission before that. Lost to Rafael Fiziev by KO. So RDA got KO'd by Fiziev. Gamrot KO'd Fiziev. So that ought to tell you here how I'm looking at my prediction. I'm already liking Gamrot to win this fight, although RDA is always a tough test. But when you look at the common opponent, that even solidifies your thinking even more to say, hey, Mateusz Gamrot should win this fight. We should be rooting for him to win this fight. He's only 33, still right in that prime window. RDA is headed towards 40. So, you know, as a fight fan, you should want Gamrot to win. But even not looking at it that way, just at the numbers and who should win, Mateusz Gamrot should win this fight, in my opinion, both on the feet and on the ground, in dominating fashion to move to 24-2. Here, lightweight division, UFC 299. Yeah, and I say you should root for Mateusz Gamrot because he has a future and RDA doesn't, right? RDA is kind of like, it is what it is at this point in his career. Nothing against him. He's a really good fighter and very capable of winning this fight. But Mateusz Gamrot can only strengthen the division with a win here. And I believe he wins anyway, but I'd be rooting for him even if I went with RDA. So it'd be a conflict of interest. But Mateusz Gamrot is the real deal. His record is impeccable. Very few losses and a lot of wins. That's what you like. So the first one's out the way, and it's a good one. And things just get better and better as you go up this card. I mean, they just get better and better, including the next fight, which is a heavyweight division fight between Curtis Blaydes and Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida is surging right now. It seems like no one can stay. He just gets the takedowns and he controls the heck out of you. He's got power too. Curtis Blaydes is going to be another worthy test, but how's this fight going to go down? If Jailton Almeida wins this, he's looking at the top now, which there's a lot of guys up there. Stipe, John Jones, Tom Aspinall's the interim champ. So this division is rocking and rolling. So let's get into that prediction right now. In the heavyweight division of UFC 299, you got Curtis Blaydes taking on Jailton Almeida. This is going to be a great fight. Big opportunity for Almeida. Blaydes has to hold serve in this fight. He's 17-4. Almeida, the Brazilian, on the rise. As you know, he's 20-2. Now, Blaydes 1 inch taller. He's got a 1 inch reach advantage. Both guys stand right-handed, and they're both 32 years old. So pretty even so far. Blaydes 3.6 significant strikes per minute. Almeida 2.8. But the biggest factor here is the takedown game. And you might be thinking Almeida's got a big advantage here. And he probably does. But Blaydes actually lands more takedowns than Almeida. 5.9 over the course of 3 rounds. Almeida sitting at 5.1 over the course of 3 rounds. Both guys nearly 2 takedowns per round on average. Now, when you look at Blaydes' fights, he doesn't get a lot of takedowns in every fight. A lot of fights, he doesn't get any. He hasn't had a takedown in the past 3 fights, and that's because they're all quick fights. He lost to Sergey Pavlovich by KO in the first. He beat Tom Aspinall by KO in quick fashion, like 15 seconds. He also beat Chris Daukaus by KO in the second round and beat Rosenstruck by decision. So he's 3-1 in the last 4, but lost in his last fight against a good fighter. So interesting fight for Almeida because Blaydes is the top, he's one of the top dogs in the division. He beats everybody he's supposed to, even beating the interim champion in Tom Aspinall. Now, when you look at Almeida, he's beaten everybody, right? He's beaten Derek Lewis by decision. He submitted Rosenstruck. He beat Shamil Abdurakhimov by KO. He submitted Anton Turkal. But we really don't know what to expect in this fight because we know Almeida's good, but now he's really getting into the nitty-gritty of the division. And, I think a lot of people would like to see this guy keep winning and face John Jones one day because that would be the ultimate test, and especially the takedown defense of John Jones with the takedown ability with Almeida. But first, he's got to get past Curtis Blaydes. Will he do so? Yes, I think he will. Now, Curtis Blaydes can land takedowns, but he has a 33% takedown defense. That's going to be a problem. And, even though Blaydes can go to the ground, Almeida is much better and more experienced on the ground than almost anyone in the heavyweight division by far. And that's why I like him to win this fight and keep winning, to be honest with you. He's creeping into our do list top 20, especially if he wins this one. If he does win this one, in my opinion, I think he will. He'll move to 21-2 here in the heavyweight division at UFC 299. Man, 21-2 if he wins this fight. And then you really solidify the top of the division. Again, John Jones, Tom Aspinall. Stipe will probably fall to John Jones, so he'll be out of it. Jailton Almeida will be right up in the mix. And eventually he's going to get a title fight. Still got Pavlovich up there. I mean, this division is rocking and rolling. But Jailton Almeida, if he wins this fight, right? Because if you lose and all of a sudden all the talk is over. Now you need 2 fights to get back to where you were at. So this fight has big implications for Jailton Almeida, but I've seen nothing to say, hey, he's not going to beat Curtis Blaydes. The guy is ridiculous. The ground game that he has at the heavyweight level is something we haven't seen. It's just something that you don't see. It's all power, KOs, limited takedowns, complete opposite of the flyweight division on the other end, which is all takedowns and no KOs. So, the sky's the limit here in this one for Jailton Almeida, and it's going to be exciting to see what he can do against some of the best in the division. Make no mistake about it. Now, as we continue moving forward, you just got great fights on this card, including the next one. Gilbert Burns versus JDM, a.k.a. Jack Della Maddalena. Welterweight fight, right? Great division. It just gets better as you go up this card. So let's get into this fight right now. In the welterweight division at UFC 299, you got Gilbert Burns, Brazilian, coming in at 22-6. One of the best in the division, taking on JDM, Jack Della Maddalena, who comes in at 16-2. Now, Maddalena is 1 inch taller at 5'11". He's just 27 years old. Burns 37. Believe it or not, he's getting up there. Maddalena, 2-inch reach advantage, and he's a switch stance fighter where Gilbert Burns fights right-handed. Maddalena lands 7.2 significant strikes per minute. That's ridiculous. 3.4 for Burns. Burns lands more takedowns, though. Like one, a little bit better, actually, than one every other round. He's more like 2 over the course of 3 rounds, but just shy of that. So let's dig a little bit deeper. Burns, 47% takedown defense. That shouldn't matter too much here. Lost to Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad, by decision. Got outstruck too, 132-81. That's concerning. But he did beat Jorge Masvidal and Neil Magny prior to that. But still, this is going to be a big test for him. Maddalena, 82% takedown defense. That will keep the fight standing, hopefully, where he has a big advantage. He beat Kevin Holland by split decision. That's a big win. Even though he trailed Kevin Holland, who's also on this card, and we broke down this fight too. But Kevin Holland outstruck him 127-105. He still got the split decision win. Controversial win. He beat Basil Hafez by split decision. See how close these fights are. Beat Randy Brown by submission and KO Danny Roberts. So this is going to be a big test for JDM. And quite frankly, it's very hard to make a prediction here because Burns is older but experienced. Jack Della Maddalena is heading right into his prime right about now, but he's kind of, young in his prime. So it's really a crossroads fight, especially in terms of the age and experience. But I think Jack Della Maddalena can win this fight. Although this is one, I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure on this one. But in picking one, I got to go with Maddalena because the takedown defense is there and Burns will test it. But Burns does have power. Maddalena has speed. 7 significant strikes per minute, that's ridiculous. And guys got to prove that they can withstand that. And Burns is going to have to land takedowns to win this fight, but I think Maddalena stuffs him. And he moves to 17-2, in my opinion here. Welterweight division, UFC 299. Yeah, this is a tough pick, man, because JDM is good, but Gilbert Burns is no joke. I mean, you saw how he performed against Hamza. He's always in the mix. I mean, this is a guy that's always going to be in contention for a title, and he's very capable of winning. So I'm not totally confident in this pick because the fight is so close. But Jack Della Maddalena continues to rise. And, in making a prediction, I feel like more than the numbers and anything, I feel like the guy's just going to continue to rise. But is he ready for the level of Gilbert Burns? That's what we're going to find out. That's the question that has to be answered. And there's no better opponent to get right now than Gilbert Burns. There's just not. So get ready for that one. Buckle your seatbelts for that one. That's fight 4. As we jump into fight 3, we just continue rolling here. Now we get into the big 3. You got Kevin Holland taking on newcomer Michael Page, a.k.a. Venom Page, who we know is good, but it's outside the UFC. Can Kevin Holland stuff him in his first fight in the UFC? Or will it be like Michael Chandler, who'll come in and win a few fights and get to a title shot eventually? Maybe not win it, but get to a title shot. And this fight goes down in the welterweight division as well. So the welterweight division is on full display in fights 3 and 4. Check this out. In the welterweight division at UFC 299, you got Michael Venom Page making his UFC debut, taking on none other than Kevin Holland. Now Venom Page, 21-2, Holland 25-10. 2 veterans of the game, make no mistake about it. They're both 6'3". Venom Page is 36, Kevin Holland 31. Holland's got a 2-inch reach advantage, 81-79. Both guys stand right-handed. Both guys land about 4.5 significant strikes per minute, but it's Venom Page with a great takedown game. He lands more than 1 takedown per round. Kevin Holland's lucky to get 1. in the course of 3 rounds. Venom Page in his 21 wins has 13 KOs, 3 submissions, 5 decisions. He has lost once by KO, once by decision. Now, back in the day, 2019, he was KO'd by Douglas Lima. We've heard of him. Recently, he lost to Logan Storley by split decision. Now, on the other hand, Kevin Holland, 53% takedown defense. And that's why this could be a tough fight for him. If Venom Page goes at a takedown game, he can grind out a victory. Kevin Holland lost by split decision to Jack Della Maddalena despite outstriking him 127 to 105. He beat Michael Chiesa by submission. Ponzinibbio KO. Before that, he lost to Stephen Thompson and Hamzat Chimaev, both by finish. So one would look at everything and probably would go with Venom Page, but I'm concerned with the fact of guys he's lost to, especially Logan Storley by split decision. I think Kevin Holland beats Logan Storley. Does that mean he beats Venom Page? Not necessarily, but I'm leaning towards Kevin Holland for just that reason. The only thing that worries me is a 53% takedown defense. That could put Kevin Holland in some bad situations, right? As we saw against Hamza, who's really good on the ground. Took advantage of Holland and beat him in 2 minutes. But Kevin Holland's gotten better, right? His takedown defense is on the rise, right? Against Jack Della Maddalena, no takedowns given up. Both guys stood and struck the whole fight. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Holland probably loses a round on the ground, giving up control time, but he'll bounce back in the other 2 and get a unanimous decision victory, or maybe even a split decision if one of the judges goes 2-1 for Page. But Kevin Holland's going to win this fight on significant strikes and better takedown defense. Look for him to stop 3 out of 4 takedowns to get the win, in my opinion, and move to 26-10, welterweight division, UFC 299. And who really knows how this fight's going to go down? Because, you look at all the accolades of Venom Page, but then you have to consider, okay, that's outside the UFC. Kevin Holland has been facing UFC fighters for 3 or 4 years now. And wasn't he like the fighter of the year in 2020 when he fought and won 5 straight? If I'm not mistaken. So this is a great fight to really test Venom Page. I mean, he's getting a real fighter in Kevin Holland, a guy who's capable of winning, but something that makes that prediction upside down maybe is the takedown defense of Kevin Holland. It's not good. It didn't look good against Hamza, but it already wasn't good before that, and Hamza's just going to expose and exploit that, which he did. So Kevin Holland's got to step up in that area if he expects to beat Venom Page. And Venom Page knows this and is going to try to exploit that weakness all day, every day. So another great fight there, 2 back-to-back welterweight fights. Now, as we go forward, it gets even better because you got a lightweight showdown between Dustin Poirier and the rising Benoit Saint Denis. And time again, Gaethje and Poirier have solidified their roles atop the division, beating all newcomers, beating all guys below them. But now you got Poirier talking about this could be his last fight. And when guys are thinking like that going into a fight, as we saw this past weekend with Tyson Pedro, they don't perform well because they're already thinking that this is their last fight. If he wins, I think he keeps going. But if he loses, that's it. And the reason he's in this position is because he lost to Gaethje. So now getting back to a title shot is looking not good. But if he wins this fight, maybe it extends their career. Maybe Poirier's not done yet, but who knows? Let's get into it right now. In the lightweight division at UFC 299 in Miami, you got Dustin the Diamond Poirier coming in at 29-8, taking on Benoit Saint Denis, a rising guy who comes in at 13-1. This is a guy that nobody, not even sure DP, wants to fight. Saint Denis, 2 inches taller at 5'11". He's 28, entering his prime. Poirier, 35, coming off the KO loss to Justin Gaethje, right? Also, Saint Denis, 1-inch reach advantage, 73-72. They're both southpaws. They fight left-handed. They're both right at 5.5 significant strikes per minute. Now, Saint Denis lands a lot of takedowns, like 1.5 per round. So he's getting 4.5 over 3 rounds. Poirier, like 1 every other round. So a big difference there. Poirier also 63% takedown defense. That could be a problem. He's come out the loss to Justin Gaethje by KO in the 2nd round. He beat Michael Chandler, though, by submission and lost to Charles do Bronx Oliveira. All 3 of these fights after after winning back-to-back fights against Conor McGregor. But he's still at the top for a reason. Saint Denis, 66% takedown defense. That'll be fine here. And this guy hasn't lost since Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos in his UFC debut in October of 2021. Since then, he's beat Nicholas Stolte, Gabriel Miranda, Ismail Bonfim, big win, Thiago Moises, big win, and Matt Frivola. But guess what? Are any of these guys on the level of Dustin Poirier? Is Dustin Poirier really going to lose a fight after coming off a loss? This is a tough one. But it's hard for me to go against DP. It's hard for me to go against the Diamond. These guys have proven consistently, yeah, they'll beat each other. Someone's got to win Gaethje versus Poirier. Someone's got to win. Someone's got to lose. But every time these guys are tested against lower-ranked opponents, they always come through. Eventually, the tide will turn. But I don't think it's going to happen just yet. I like Dustin Poirier to win this fight in, a drag-out 3-round battle. That's why the odds are even. Poirier wins by decision. He'll lose one round on a takedown. He'll get taken down in some other rounds, but he'll get back up and outstrike Saint Denis to sneak out a victory here to get his 30th win in MMA. He'll move to 30-8 with the win, in my opinion, lightweight division, UFC 299.
Yeah, and it's hard to go against the Diamond. Again, him and Gaethje, every time they lose a fight and they got to fight a fighter below them, they win. They win. So the competition has really been from the number 3 contender spot down. And it seems like these spots just get held on to forever. But we made this prediction before the Diamond said, hey, I might retire after this fight. So we'll see how that thought process plays out for Dustin Poirier in this fight. Is he going to be able to put that in the back of his mind and really go out and try to win? And really, if your career is going to end, don't you want it to end on a winning note? But at some point when you're up against it and everything is on the line and you're like, you know what, I'm going to retire anyway, the advantage slides to the other fighter, in this case, Benoit Saint Denis. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be highly interesting. It's a big-time fight, lightweight division fights at this level, at any level really, but especially at this level, are always exciting. So I'm curious to see what Dustin Poirier can do. I'm really curious to see. Now, as we move forward into the main event, we did this prediction probably 3 or 4 months ago. Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. You remember what happened? The only blemish on Sean O'Malley's record is Vera. So this is a huge fight for him. Basically, if he can win it, he's virtually undefeated. It appeared that the injury caused him to go down and end up getting finished. So he can say that. And he is saying that Marlon Vera hasn't gotten any better since their last fight. But O'Malley claims he's gotten much better. And he proved it, beating Aljamain Sterling and others on the lead up to the title, including Petr Yan, which really allowed him to skyrocket in the rankings and fight for the title. So, the sky's the limit, and I still think O'Malley's getting better and better, but this fight is certainly going to be a breaking point for both guys. Let's get into it right now. In the bantamweight division, for the bantamweight division title at UFC 299, you got Sugar Sean O'Malley coming in at 17-1, taking on Marlon Chito Vera, who comes in at 21-8. And it should be noted before we get started in terms of the prediction that the one blemish on Sean O'Malley's resume is Marlon Vera. That's why he's getting this opportunity. So we'll see what happens in the rematch. Now, O'Malley stands 3 inches taller at 5'11". He's got a 2-inch reach advantage. Both guys are switch stance fighters. Think about that. That makes it interesting. O'Malley, 7.3 significant strikes per minute compared to 4.4 for Marlon Vera. Takedown game, non-existent for O'Malley and non-existent for Vera. So you're going to get a stand-up striking affair. And both guys average to good in terms of takedown defense, which means this fight is going to be on the feet like we saw in one round in the first fight. Now, how did Sean O'Malley get here? He beat Aljamain Sterling and stole the belt. Shocked the world. I mean, let's be honest. Beat him by KO. Before that, he beat Petr Yan by split decision. That guy's always a tough out. Surprised Petr Yan's losing as much as he does lately. He also beat Raulian Paiva by KO. He KO'd Chris Moutinho and KO'd Thomas Almeida. But there's still a lot of questions to be answered, and this fight's definitely going to be in Sean O'Malley's head, where he lost to Chito Vera last time. Now, Chito Vera, coming off the win over Pedro Munoz, lost to Corey Sandhagen. That's why it's tough that he gets this fight. But it was a split decision. For that, he beat Dominic Cruz, right? KO. Rob Font, decision. Rob Font was really good back in 2021, 2022. Still good, but even better then. KO'd Frank Yeager and beat Davey Grant. So Sean O'Malley and Vera last fought in August of 2020, right? And it was a short one-round fight. Marlon Vera led 18-10 in significant strikes. O'Malley went down with an injury, but to me, he also got KO'd. I mean, you can make the argument either way. O'Malley was in trouble before the injury anyway, so it makes for an interesting fight. But now O'Malley is the champ. He's going to be talking a lot of trash before this fight, and he's going to back himself into a corner and force himself to come through, you know, and back up all the talk that's going to go into this fight, because there's going to be a lot of talking. And in my opinion, I think he will. I think he's going to back it up. It's a stand-up striking affair. Eventually, Sugar Sean O'Malley will find his way through Marlon Vera, right? O'Malley's going to be around a while. Why is he not fighting Merab Dvalishvili or someone like this? Because Marlon Vera beat O'Malley. So they want to race Vera to the top and give him a chance and see if O'Malley can respond. Is he a true champion? Because a true champion wins his fight. And that's what O'Malley is. I like O'Malley to win this thing, likely by decision. It's going to go the distance. It's going to be close. But I'm going to say 49-46, a couple of 48-47s, something like that. Sean O'Malley gets the win on significant strikes. He'll win 3 or 4 rounds to keep the belt and move to 18-1, in my opinion, bantamweight division for the title at UFC 299. Yeah, man, another tough prediction. That's why I'm glad we got the main event right last week with Rosenstrike, so we're back to 4-3. If O'Malley can win this thing, we'll be up to 5-3 and we'll have a little cushion. But if not, we'll drop to 4-4 and then we'll have another tough pick the week after. So we really need O'Malley to come through, and I'm not as confident in these main card picks as I normally am for a pay-per-view setting, because the fights are so close. And again, the matchmakers for the UFC are doing a heck of a job. But in this one, I still really think O'Malley will pull this thing out. It's going to be a close fight. Vera's going to be believing he can win. But O'Malley has something to prove, man. And I love fighters in close fights that have something to prove. And that leads me to believe that O'Malley will get the job done. Now, as we jump into the Q&A, you got David Wilkes saying, thanks for the video, Coach Wilksey, Steve's coach. Much love, no doubt. John Ruffin says, this didn't age well at all, speaking as a hobby versus Basharat. Basharat fell. He said, please do more research before making fight predictions. Yeah, man, but we went 8-3 on the night. What about the other 8 fights we got right, the 7 in a row that we got right? Are we not doing our research? Ahmad Patton says, Javed got robbed. Frederick Hoxenville says, explain what he did in round 2 to 3 and rounds 2 and 3 to win. I know, right? But I think Zahabi won. Basharat did not fight well. He didn't go for it. And that's what happens. Speaking of Hamza, Homework says, I hate the UFC dude, was promised 2 title shots and haven't got a single one. Hamza was literally ranked number 2 at welterweight and still never got a title shot. Even if he's high up in the middleweight rankings, watch people still complain and UFC do him dirty once again. I wouldn't doubt it, man. You know, Hamza just cannot get fights. He can't get into the country because of the visa. Then you got to wait once a year for them to have an overseas fight. It's just ridiculous. Another person weighs in, says Javed Basharat needs to retire. Man. The Greens Keep says Diaz versus McGregor makes the most sense and will have way more interest than Chandler or Poirier. And I agree 100%. And still make it a 165-pound title fight, open this division up, move welterweight to 175, let's rock and roll. But we'll see. That fight will go down at the Sphere, is what people are talking about. D. Micah Reynolds says, are we overlooking Hill? The injuries, the no training. Does he pull off the win and beat Alex at UFC 300? Alex in better shape, could be undersized a little bit. Other than that, he's believed to KO Hill. I just think there's a small chance it's a fluke fight. So I'm pointing that out. The only thing I have with Jamal Hill, because I like the guy. Normally I would pick him to beat Pereira, but he's coming off the injury. And that is never a good thing because you're second guessing yourself. After this fight, he'll be back to normal, but he won't be normal in this fight. Good enough to beat Pereira, but you never know. Kenneth Bruner says Usman is smart. So this is for what it is. It's a confirmation and acknowledgement that Hamza Chimaev is the best fighter on the planet. Usman knows that a win over Hamza would get anyone a title shot in the division of their choice, welterweight or middleweight, instantly. It's an absurd request by Usman. But is it? Hamza is the golden ticket for anyone. Yeah. And Usman saying he wants a 5-round fight. And I just don't see Hamza doing that. At Bo Jackson, always getting on me on something. This is like the 4th different take I've seen you have on this fight. Speaking of Rosenstrike versus Gaziev, yeah. Yeah. But you know what? It came correct. He also says we need these predictions written down because you say a lot of back and forth things. No, I messed up once this year. One time this year. Bottom line is we have Makayev beating Alex Perez. And that's the way it turned out. We were going with all the undefeated fighters except Shamil Gaziev. Bo Jackson's back. He's going off. You act like Usman is wrong for wanting a rematch in a fight he lost. Literally every fighter would want a rematch. Yeah, but we get sick of these rematches. Crazy. I'm starting to like the Chimaev updates more than your fraud predictions. Hey, the predictions are looking on the up and up over the last 2 weeks. Let's be real. He posts one prediction of side A winning, then he posts a quick video of how side B will dominate side A. Oh, and did I get that wrong? I did say Alex Perez will dominate Muhammad Makayev. I got to go back and look at that. It should have been Muhammad Makayev will dominate Alex Perez. So I might have written that down wrong in the title. You're right. We'll fix it. Sito Max says, I understand playing dogs in his card, but Alex Perez is not that guy. Yeah. Yeah. And Bo Jackson's getting on me because I did make a mistake there. Second mistake of the season. We got to get it together, Chris. We got to get it together. Bo Jackson, TCMMA. I think Gaziev will get the job done. The output is ridiculous. We'll get the finish. It's 5 rounds. 2 seconds later, we got Rosenstrike winning. We need Biggie Boy. Please, please, please. Are you serious? You're 3-4 in the main event, my friend. Now we're 3-3. Now we're 4-3. So we'll take it. King Terzi's back, my man. Says, this is the fans being haters on Hamza. King Terzi, pathetic Chimaev already took care of him. Yeah. The Micah Reynolds. Usman lost, man. That's how it goes. Both Henry and Usman seem like they're in similar situations, started a podcast together. Hamza, let's go. 2024. Get a fight date. Let's get it rocking and rolling. Aussie Pebbles. Hamza can't fight in the U.S. because of, affiliations. Yeah, for sure. Yes, sir. As Abuism says, Paulo Costa is just so cringe and unskilled. Yeah. Louis Hennick, bro, chose to speak facts. And that's what we do, man. We try to speak facts. Try to speak facts. And that's the way it goes. That's what people were saying, man. People were getting on me. Have every right to. When you're making predictions, you expect it, though. You expect for people to get on you no matter which way you go. Because every fight, you got a different team. And unlike other sports where you just have, like me, the Miami Dolphins, or Miami Heat, or one team, in the UFC, you got, like last night, 11 fights. I have 11 different teams fighting. One will win, one will lose. And therefore, it's a toss-up every time we make a prediction. But the record stands at like 53-32 on the season, so we're starting to pull away a little bit in the win column. But check this out. We're going to be back during the week. It's going to be a wild week of interest, of trash talking, of the Miami crowd getting crazy, because there's going to be a lot of backing for Marlon Vera, Gilbert Burns, guys like that in the Hispanic crowd. If there's one thing you need to know about Miami, there's a lot of Hispanics that are going to come and root for their fighters. So don't expect Sean O'Malley to have the crowd support. There's going to be a lot of Hispanics that want to see Marlon Vera win the title. And it's kind of like Sean O'Malley's going on the road. He'll have some support, but he's one of those guys that isn't necessarily well liked as a champion. He's a Hamza Chimaev type where people want to see him lose. And I love it. So let's see what happens. But for now, this is your boy Chris Cross. This is the TCMMA podcast. We'll be back later in the week. I hope y'all have a great day. And God bless. As always, peace.